have been crying for so long. Our cries have been heard.
Local Liberians welcome USA, hoping it will bring an end to the violence in their homeland. Plus, the search for a masked gunman who held up 3 employees at this Minnesota strip club. And fans get their first look at this year's bikes. The news starts after Powerball.
Here are tonight's winning Powerball numbers. We will repeat these numbers in a few minutes during KARE 11 News at 10. This is KARE 11 News at 10.
Good evening. Rick has the night off. A soccer match in the Northern Metro tonight carried an important message.
For several of the players, it wasn't about scoring goals. It was about remembering the home they left behind. That home is Liberia, where today a mortar attack on a church in the capital of Monrovia killed at least 3 people. President Bush has ordered an undisclosed number of U.S. troops to take up positions off the country's coast. That help is what local Liberians have been praying for after nearly 14 years of a nonstop civil war. KARE 11's Scott Goldberg reports.
Every July 26th, Ansu Sirleaf celebrates his native Liberia's independence with a soccer game. This year, he's also celebrating a phone call.
I was blessed to talk with her today because since the incident occurred 2 or 3 weeks ago, I haven't heard from her.
2 or 3 weeks ago, his mother was thrown out of her home, displaced, like thousands of Liberians, by the bloody civil war that has killed an estimated 200,000 people.
The U.S. is just like a bigger brother to Liberia. We are going to welcome them wholeheartedly.
Sirleaf and the other native Liberians playing soccer in Blaine said troops from the U.S., the country they now call home, aren't just needed, they too would be celebrated if they did anything to stop the bleeding in Africa.
Both sides want their troops to end as soon as possible.
Liberia was founded in 1847 by freed American slaves. Its flag is modeled after America's. Its capital, Monrovia, is named after former President James Monroe. But today, Monrovia is battered, caught between rebels trying to oust President Charles Taylor and troops trying to protect him. President Bush says he'll consider sending peacekeeping troops, but only if Taylor leaves the country first.
A peacekeeping mission is a difficult mission.
Retired Air Force General Dennis Schulstead says it's a tough political decision to commit American troops to another region.
We have been crying for so long.
But Ansu Sirleaf says the commitment would mean Liberia's cries have been heard, and only America can rebuild the country its slaves created.
Today, President Charles Taylor said 1,000 Liberians have been killed in the last 8 days. President Bush said Marines on their way to help Liberia will guide African peacekeepers as they move in, but the president's refused to say if American troops will join the Africans on the ground. Brad and Amy.
All right, thanks, Scott. Well, a Sauk Rapids strip club employee is recovering tonight after getting shot in the stomach during a holdup. Police say a man wearing a mask and carrying a sawed-off shotgun robbed 3 employees of Sugar Daddies just before 5 this morning. Investigators from the Benton County Sheriff's Department and the BCA spent the day scouring that parking lot and the area behind Sugar Daddies for clues. The sheriff says once the suspect rounded up the employees, he started tying up a male employee.
As he was tying one of them up, the other male employee made a move for him or whatever, and the robber shot him. So we have one male employee in the hospital now.
The gunman robbed the female employee of all the money she had, and then he took off. The sheriff says the employee who was shot is in stable condition at a St. Cloud hospital. Authorities are looking for a man who is described as a white male, 5'7", with a thin build. He was wearing light blue jeans, a dark shirt, and a dark gray ski mask. If you have any information, you're asked to call the Benton County Sheriff's Department. The company that owns Sugar Daddies is offering a $10,000 reward.
A Twin Cities nurse under investigation in connection with the deaths of several patients at North Memorial has since worked at another metro area hospital. North Memorial fired the nurse in April after she allegedly gave 5 terminally ill patients excessive doses of narcotics. The nurse then went to work at Fairview University Medical Center in Minneapolis. She found the work through a temp agency. Fairview officials say the care she provided was safe and appropriate. Her attorney says she did nothing wrong while at North Memorial.
She gave medication that was within the prescribed limits. The issue seems to be is the frequency, the timing, but there are differences of medical opinions.
Fairview officials say they are concerned about the allegations and are conducting a case-by-case review of her work there.
A fiery car crash in Minneapolis earlier this week has now claimed the life of a second victim. Scott Letourneau, who was a passenger in the car, has died. The car hit a center support on a railroad bridge on Broadway, then burst into flames early Thursday morning, killing the driver, 26-year-old Robert Strandline. The victim's relatives say the car was running on a spare tire and that may have contributed to the crash.
It will take more tests before authorities in Texas know whether a body found today is that of missing college basketball player Patrick Dennehy. Authorities found the body near Waco in an area they hadn't searched before. They say the body is badly decomposed. Dennehy disappeared 6 weeks ago.
This morning at first light, we begin a thorough collection of all evidence and examination of the area where the badly decomposed body was found. Around 9 a.m. today, I advised Patrick's family that an unidentified body was found.
Dennehy's Baylor University teammate Carlson Dotson is charged with his murder.
Another deadly day for U.S. soldiers in Iraq. A grenade attack in Baghdad killed 3 U.S. soldiers and injured 4 others. The soldiers, all members of the 4th Infantry Division, were guarding a children's hospital. 161 U.S. troops have been killed in action in Iraq since the war began. That's 14 more than in the first Gulf War.
It appears people are paying closer attention to the beach closed signs at Lake Harriet in Minneapolis. We stopped by the lake today. City officials temporarily closed the beach yesterday after finding a high level of bacterial contamination. When we were there yesterday, we found people diving in despite the signs. It is that time of year again when hope springs eternal for Vikings fans.
Hard to believe, isn't it? The Purple Gang is back together in Mankato for training camp, and the true believers can't seem to get enough. As if the first day of drills wasn't enough to wear them out, there was another August ritual awaiting the players. Hordes of fans lined the path to the gridiron with pens poised for autograph action. Among them, a team from Northwest Minnesota visiting camp for the very first time.
I got Dante Culpepper, I've got Andre Crockett, Derek Alexander, Corey Chavis, Randy Moss, Matt Burke, Mo Williams, Keenan Howery, and some of the other ones I have no idea.
Camp continues on the campus of Minnesota State for the next few days, and then it's off to Wisconsin for a scrimmage with the Kansas City Chiefs. Still ahead, Eric Perkins will take you out on the field for day 1 at the Vikes training camp.
Also ahead on KARE 11 News, an unusual sight on Minnesota's roadways today. A great-grandma on a Harley making an important milestone. And Cleveland rides all over the Twins. Sports with the highlights.
And I'm meteorologist Belinda Jensen. Well, you've lived through the hottest day of this summer so far. Do we cool off? Does the humidity go away? I'll have all the answers in just a few minutes.
And here's a live look from downtown Minneapolis where people are oohing and eyeing tonight. We'll show you how you can see the whole fireworks show without leaving your home.
So how would you celebrate your 80th birthday? Well, this Twin Cities woman did it by hopping on her Harley. Violet Lewandowski turned the big 80 Thursday.
And Granny got on her hog in Robbinsdale and headed north for a big birthday bash with family and friends. Violet has been riding Harleys for 55 years, but these days she says she does a lot of solo rides.
All of my friends have given up riding, and at 80 years old they don't want to ride anymore.
Threads. Very nice threads. Violet says she'll keep on riding as long as she can.
And now here's a look at what's coming up tomorrow night in the Extra.
Sunday in the KARE 11 Extra. A story only one man can tell. Battling for his life, he aims his camera and his passion at himself.
I felt that this is probably one of the most important stories I would ever have to tell.
An astonishing journey, Sunday at 10.
Looks like a good story. Well, what a show in the skies over Minneapolis. Tonight, we want to give you a live look at the Target Fireworks Show. It's part of the Aquatennial. The show features more than 10,000 pounds of explosives and, get this, 45 miles of wire. The Aquatennial wraps up tomorrow. And you can see the entire fireworks show right here tomorrow night. KARE 11 will rebroadcast the show at 10:35.
Well, staying cool was not easy on this hot, humid day, but some people in Coon Rapids found a creative way to beat the heat. A 127-foot slip-and slide got lots and lots of use at an annual family and neighborhood get-together. Some kids tried to surf the slide, others just took my personal favorite, the running dive. Although you have to make sure it's soaked, because if you hit a spot
or grass,
or grass,
you're hurting. That looks so fun. What a great way to spend the day. The hottest day of the year so far. Over 20 cities in Minnesota exceeded 90 today.
Wow.
And that's a big deal because up until now we've only had 2 90s. So it really was a remarkable day and very humid as well. I've got some stats for you. As always, I know I'm the Cliff Clavin of the 10 p.m. newscast. Here's your time lapse just to show you how murky it was today. High humidity, a couple of showers passing here and there, and here are the numbers. We did exceed 90 in over 20 cities. Can we take a look at those numbers? Our sultry numbers out there? There they are. It was the first 90 in Duluth today in 2 years. The heat indices all over the metro were over 100. And once again, as I mentioned, the third 90 in the Twin Cities this summer. And dew points exceeded 80 in Osceola, Maple Lake, Glencoe, and Faribault. That was dew points. Wow. It has been very, very warm. We have, of course, been warming up throughout the week, and today is going to come out being the warmest. And actually, across the area, the warmest city was Cambridge. They ended up coming in at 93 degrees, and here in the Twin Cities, 92. So let's take a look at the maps right now and show you what's happened for the daytime high today. We'll go ahead and click to the next map. There it is. We'll look at these numbers. 84 and 73 for the north, as you can see here, Blaine. 91 in Crystal, 75 as well was the low. So it was a warm night as well. All that humidity finally got scoured out in the last couple of hours, and it'll be remarkably different tomorrow when you wake up. So it's going to be quite nice. 90 in St. Paul, 92 here in the Twin Cities, as I mentioned, at the airport. 91 in South St. Paul, Lakeville, and Eden Prairie. We don't want to forget our friends in St. Cloud. You also hit 92 degrees. The highest dew point, by the way, if you're wondering, that has ever been recorded in the state of Minnesota is 84. That was set back this week in 1999. We were pretty close today, though. We had an 82-degree dew point in Faribault this afternoon at 6 p.m., so very warm. Here are some other temperatures. As I mentioned, first 90-degree day in 2 years in Duluth. They were at 91 today. As you can see here, Grand Rapids was at 91 and 88 to the south in Owatonna, so very warm. So the front has gone through. The winds have shifted to the north. It's going to take a while for that drier air to come in, but it'll happen overnight. High pressure anchored up to our north and west will give us a nice northwest flow for your Sunday. By 7 p.m. tomorrow night, well, all day tomorrow is going to be beautiful. High pressure stays in control here in the Twin Cities through Monday and through the first part of the day on Tuesday, so count on beautiful weather. Late on Tuesday, a chance of thunder that lingers into Wednesday. Let's run through the forecast and let you know what you can anticipate for the rest of the weekend. After our hottest day of the year, tonight it's going to be quite nice. Partly cloudy as we dip down into the upper 60s. Then for tomorrow in the Twin Cities, less humid, partly cloudy, and in the low 80s. Northwest winds 8 to 14 miles an hour. On Monday, a beautiful day, 82, low humidity. Most of Tuesday looks dry, just a slight chance of a late day thunderstorm. Wednesday, there's a chance of afternoon thunderstorms. Thursday during the day looks good. Thursday night, overnight, a chance of thunderstorms. Temperatures very seasonal for this time of year. Dropping off to 60 in Bemidji and Walker. That'll be the cool spot tonight. And then tomorrow it looks really nice. Mankato, Menominee, Rice Lake, and Wilmer, most of those thunderstorms have now passed, and it will just become partly cloudy as the evening goes on. So we anticipate a very nice end to the Aquatennial and all those other events that we mentioned earlier in the newscast.
Good news. All right, thanks a lot, Bill. Well, coming up in sports with Randy Shaver, the Twins in Cleveland trying to gain ground on first place Kansas City.
Plus, it's day one at Vikings training camp, and the war of words, it's already started. Defensive lineman Chris Hovan responds to comments from Packer quarterback Brett Favre.
Welcome back. Time now for sports with Randy Shaver. You just came across something pretty interesting.
Associated Press is reporting tonight that Corey Stringer's widow, Kelsey Stringer, will sue the NFL on Monday for the heat stroke death of Corey Stringer back in 2001. She will also be named in the suit, will also be named the helmet maker Riddell Sports Group Incorporated and NFL medical advisor. So again, Kelsey Stringer has announced that they will be suing the NFL on Monday for the death of Corey Stringer 2 years ago in training camp. Well, a rather quiet first day of camp for the Minnesota Vikings today. The holdout of fourth-round pick Ontario Smith continues, but he's only hurting himself by staying out. Otherwise, the first day on the field goes pretty smoothly. Here's Eric Perkins.
There's a Viking vibe in Mankato, and it feels good. Who knew work could be this exciting?
I just think we're just determined to see how far we can go, and I think everybody's just hungry just to get this thing started and to get playing football.
That determination can be seen in the eyes of Chris Hoven. Talk about a game face. He, too, is ready, set, go.
He's got as much energy as anybody I've ever seen. And for a big guy at 300 pounds to have that much energy is pretty amazing. So he's a guy that definitely, you know, I think our whole team and even I look to for motivation sometimes.
Hoven believes if he sets the pace at practice, others will follow, and that can make for a high-energy team.
I try to lead by example, and you know, if any young guys got any problems, you know, they can come to me, because you know, myself or you know, Greg Beekert or Lance Johnstone on the defense, and then Dante Burke and even Randy on offense. You know, we got a lot of good leaders, a lot of young leaders in this team, and guys are really stepping up right now.
September 7th should be especially fun for the defensive lineman. After targeting Brett Favre and then being told by the Packers quarterback to get a life, Hoven responds today.
I think he's really going through a midlife crisis, I guess, man. What are you gonna do, man? It's good for the game to jab back and forth. You know, I don't have to look 5 years down the line to know I'm an idiot. I know I'm an idiot. You know, that's funny. Someone else got to say that, you know. But hey, he's a Hall of Famer, and you know, I give the guy respect he deserves. But it's a to be in somebody's head, though. It's real. When someone, you know, I know he's going home thinking about something every night. So it's a to be in somebody's head.
The Vikes hit the practice field again first thing tomorrow. In Mankato, Eric Perkins, KARE 11.
We'll have more on the Vikings tomorrow at 5 and 10. Now to the Twins and a train wreck in Cleveland tonight. They led 2-0, and the Indians scored 8 times in the second inning. It was all over in a hurry, 9-2 final. Guzman with the base hit. Jock Jones would score. Twins up 2-0. Kyle Loesch gets the start tonight. Game tied at 2, and a bunt turns into an adventure here. Watch Loesch throw the ball away. Well, that's a base hit. This is an error by Dustin Moore, in which a run scores. Here's the bunt that Loesch throws away for another error. Minkiewicz was charged with an error in the same inning. 3 errors by the Twins, very uncharacteristic by them. And of course, it all leads to this, a grand slam home run by Jody Garrett, and the Indians win it 9-2 the final. They'll play again tomorrow afternoon. Kansas City and Detroit dressed in the old-time unis today, and it was an old-fashioned ball game, very low-scoring game. Tigers getting a triple from Ramon Santiago. 2 runs would score. They never looked back. Add injury to insult, Brett Maine hit right. Oh, goodness. 5-1. Tigers beat Kansas City, so the Twins remain 5.5 games back. That had to hurt. Chicago White Sox blow a chance to gain ground tonight. Rocco Baldelli with a double, scoring 2 for Tampa Bay in a big 4-run 6th inning for the Devil Rays. They win 10-6 at Chicago tonight. To the Lynx on the road in Indiana. This basketball team trying to stay in the WNBA playoff chase. Good news tonight. The Lynx win. Katie Smith scores 21. Sherry Sam adds 20. Lynx 70-65 winners tonight. Tour de France, the second to last stage. Jan Ullrich wipes out on the rain-slick course. His chances to catch Lance Armstrong basically over now. It's going to take a miracle for Armstrong not to win his 5th straight tour tomorrow. He leads by 1 minute 16 seconds. Greater Hartford Open, leader Willie Wood found just that. Wood, he nails a tree off the tee at 15. The ball goes into the water, triple bogeys to fall from the lead. Peter Jacobson is the leader at 11 under par. Nice birdie putt here at 16. Final round tomorrow at the Greater Hartford Open.
Quote of the day, I don't have to look 5 years down the road to know that I'm an idiot.
I agree with that one.
Bleep, 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 right?
Thanks a lot, Randy. Well, next, did she say yes? The real fireworks that went off before tonight's Aquatennial show even got underway.
That's right. Plus, a look at tonight's winning lottery numbers.
Before we go tonight, a surprise proposal before the Aquatennial fireworks show.
Will you marry me?
Yes!
Scott Shocker of South Minneapolis popped the question tonight in front of hundreds of people at an Aquatennial event. He and Angel Carlson have been dating for 2.5 years. Scott says he chose to propose at the Aquatennial because it represents wonderful Minnesota summers, and here's wishing them many wonderful summers together. Although it would have been pretty embarrassing if she'd said no.
Said
huh?
no, yeah.
You got the TV crew there. Actually saw that happen once on national TV.
No.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're going to leave you with some shots of the fireworks display down in downtown Minneapolis. Enjoy your evening, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.